welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK, and today we'll be talking about Amazon Vendor Central, and more precisely, it's about how to align the vendor's internal team and cross-functional teams within the company. So I'm joined by Bruno Ferreira, who's been working with Amazon vendors for many years now. So welcome to our podcast, Bruno.
Hi, Prabhat. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure
Excellent.
to be here.
Excellent. So I think it's good for you to introduce yourself, your company, and what you've been doing for last few years.
Yeah, so I'm Bruno Ferreira. I founded Blue Dot almost 2 years ago. It's been a very interesting journey, a lot of learnings, a lot of vendors help. So what we are trying to do is I've been managing vendor central accounts for about 8 years. And then, of course, that you start noticing a lot of details on that. And even talks with some people on Amazon, um, they push me like there's no one helping vendors internally set up. If you think about that, Prabhat, you have a lot of these agencies doing a great work, helping them with brand awareness, running PPC, and all of the things that we know that can actually help a brand. But what I actually do is internal with the vendor. So Amazon vendor is very specific. The compliance manual, it's very detailed, and everybody knows about chargebacks if you don't follow the rules. So what I'm trying to do is on one side to help vendors to establish a strong cross-functional team for Amazon when possible. But I have clients that sometimes it's only two people doing everything while they grow, but with specific SOPs, we make them grow. So on one side, it's very important to align that cross-functional team for Amazon. And then on the other side, it's to work and build and implement compliant SOPs, those standard operating processes that will definitely bring you success. They will reduce your chargebacks. They will help you to monitor and dispute shortage claims. And sometimes it's very tricky to try to understand. I'm just thinking that on one side, when vendors come to me, they already are calling Amazon a lot of bad names because that's when they realize, wait a minute, what's going on? And then on the other side, they keep showing this kind of resistance, mainly on the C-level of management within vendors, the companies, the brands, that resistance of the ways of working of Amazon. And I always start to say a couple of things. One of the first ones is let's learn how to say no to Amazon. That's one of the first ones. And then I'll bring them on board. And the comments from vendors is they're always like, oh, why do they do this like this? We never done it like that. We can't do it. Yes, we can. Let's check it. Let's review it. Let's sit all together and review the compliance manual. So these are the two main things that I help vendors with. Okay.
Yes, I think those are the quite crucial things. And let's
Yeah.
try and break things down with sort of different aspects of Vendor Central. So there are sort of product listing process, there are compliance, which you've mentioned. So what sort of issues do you normally see when you are setting up Vendor Central accounts?
When we do end-to-end setup for a client, of course, that catalog build is always extremely, think about that if you have a catalog with 400 ASINs, if you have to complete those NIS files with all the detail requested, it's a lot of work to go around. What I always advise my vendors is let's start first analyzing the catalog. First of all, as a whole of the company, what items are you really interested to sell on Amazon? And can we have that set group of ASINs just for Amazon? Because then that will help a lot on the operational side too, trust me. Because if you are selling only those ASINs to Amazon, there's no algorithm price matching wars. There's no extra work having third-party sellers competing with you to sell those products. You know how it works with vendor. Net PPM is a very important KPI. So we start working the catalog. If it's a new setup, that's one of my first questions. Okay, you have 400 items in your catalog that your brand produces and sells. Which ones? Can you give me a group of 40, 60? Let's work on that together. Let's make the decision together. Okay, so it's this 60. Can we schedule to sell these products only to Amazon vendor? Yes or no? If we can, then that's a new set of challenges that we're posing to, because if he's not selling just that to Amazon, then some other third-party seller probably is going to sell it too, will create a lot of the decrease of the selling prices on Amazon vendors. So starting with catalog and then working with the cross-functional team. A couple of my clients sometimes don't even have the team yet. It's funny because sometimes I ask questions. I'm thinking about a vendor a few weeks back when I noticed I was doing an audit for him to understand what can we identify and improve. And I noticed through the data that, and I went to him and I was like, did you ever train your team? Does your team know about vendor? And he was like, oh, no, they never worked with vendor, but they have a lot of experience. They were managing our online web page and they also do eBay and this. Well, everything is different. They need training. And I can see that sometimes in the data. This specific vendor is a future PO order vendor, meaning that he receives orders today to deliver in May.
Yes.
But what told me that the team never received the training was that they didn't know about that. So they were not respecting the delivery window. They were receiving them today, processing, dispatching, and it will be delivered next Wednesday. So he was receiving used chargebacks for early delivery, on average, 26 days early. So this vendor was like, on one side, he was like, how can you see that in the data? Well, if they're not respecting the delivery windows, do they know how it works? So we started that project of bringing the team on board. The cross-functional team is so important. So we train them. We usually start with one main point of contact, depending on the vendor side. Or someone from sales, someone from logistics, someone from finance. Each one of them will get a specific training for their daily and weekly tasks. Of course, that the sales main point of contact will act as the manager of the cross-functional team. So he needs to receive training in all the pillars. He's from sales, but he needs to understand how finance on Amazon vendor works. Everybody knows how complex it is. Payments, deductions, why are they deducting this? Why are they repaying back that? How to open a dispute, how to get the document. So this salesperson is very important. It needs to have some characteristics too. I will point a couple of them. It needs to be, first of all, someone that has a very open mind to start working with vendor, because from my experience, if you're starting that cross-functional team with sales contact, that person, and if that person doesn't allow themselves to learn new things, it will always keep in the back like, oh, we never did it like this. Why should we start now? That won't work. Another good thing is to have this problem-solving mentality. Everybody that works with vendors knows that every day is a fun day with Amazon vendor. Amazon vendor will keep challenging people like us that work every day with them, with the system. There will always be a new challenge. From finance, Prabhat, just very quick, it needs to be someone from accounting. And what the training for someone from finance usually starts not teaching them how accounting work, but to bring them on board how Amazon vendor payments and deductions work, to understand the financial dashboard, to understand how to download the remittance report, how to identify different documents. Amazon vendor has a lot of very good things to work. And one of these days I'll get beaten in the street for saying stuff like this, but it's really logic. And once you understand how they work and understand all the details, it's so logic. It's like, it's almost perfect the way. Of course, that saying that in paper is almost perfect, it doesn't mean that it will work perfectly. So that finance person will just receive an extensive training on all of the things regarding finance. And so if you think about that, starting a new setup for a customer, the most important thing is strategic planning, deciding the catalog. After that, of course, we're a few steps ahead. There's the negotiation, initial negotiation. And that negotiation, in my opinion, is the most important of all, because next year it will be based on this year and all the following year. So I always say this to vendors, guys, don't go to the first negotiation when Amazon invites you to be vendor thinking next year will do better. Please make the best you can in the first one, because all the following negotiations the next years will be based on this one. So if we go with catalog and establishing a strong cross-functional team, everything will start to be easier. And then you have your catalog, you have your team. Let's start reviewing the current operating processes of that company, because a vendor is a company that was already doing business, but we need to review their current logistic processes, warehouse setups, everything. So these are the three main things, and we won't cover any more detail, but this is the most important part. It's catalog, cross-functional team, and SOPs.
Okay, excellent. So you mentioned quite a few things. Obviously, you mentioned the 3 points. So I'm breaking down into various different topics as we speak. So like, for example, you mentioned about catalog, you mentioned about negotiation, you mentioned about finances, you mentioned about operational processes and warehousing. So, so I think what I'm hearing from you is important to follow the documents that Amazon is present there. And you mentioned before the call as well that the Amazon is going for a long time. Their processes are seamless. It's just for us to takes time to understand it.
I have that opinion, yes.
Yes. So and where that's where you come in and help vendors to understand it. So if a typical vendor who is just starting up, let's put it example of somebody who is starting up and they've got, say, team members or more, many team or bigger, larger team. With regards to training side of things, if you have to put time on it, so what sort of time scale does each part or each member, say for example, finance team, need to go through with yourself?
Finance depends. So each vendor is a different case, because on this point that we're covering, if you think about that, even the category might influence the training that we're having. Think about a catalog with liquids and glass. There will be probably a lot of work around prep requirements and all of that. And in the beginning, maybe there will be a few chargebacks for prep compliance and all of that. So a training for a finance person, depending on a few details, I usually run between 4 to 6 sessions of 2 hours.
Yes.
The ideal is to complete the course into 3-4 weeks. And so as the training is really important, I also think that it's really important the following weeks. And the following weeks with all my clients, what I do and I work with them is we start with this training. And the following weeks I will be in the backseat. So I work with my vendor. So I'll give you an example. If I finish today a training for a finance point of contact, I will be in the back seat with that person in the next 3-4 weeks. What does that mean? It means that that person, the first week, we will be doing it together on live. We will have a 1 or 2 hour call. We will be covering the SOPs that we defined, and that person will be doing the tasks and I will be shadowing. The second week, that person will be doing it by herself or himself, but I will always make myself available for any question, for any issue. One thing that I know is that everybody that I train, they know this. There's nothing you can do wrong on Amazon that can't be fixed. Well, there's only 1 or 2 things that you can do wrong. And I always tell them this: don't be afraid, test it, try it, ask me, hey, I thought about this. Okay, try it. Maybe I don't even know too. Let's try it. Everything can be fixed on Amazon Vendor. And as long as you know where you're standing and how to go around it and how to fix it, that will give you the ability to feel more relaxed and try new things, to find new things. That's why that second and third week by themselves with the support on a call, it's very important too. You can always fix things on Amazon. I always tell them this: you can take 1 hour, you can take 1 day, you can take 1 week, you can take 1 year, but we will sort it. So
Yes.
go and start walking by yourself. And then, so if you think about that, 4 weeks training in 2 hour sessions, and then two, three, whatever, 4 weeks on a live support, and people start walking by themselves. And it's really good after almost 2 years of Blue Dot to actually still be in contact with some people that I trained. And now they are doing even different things, but we are still in touch.
Yes. I think I felt, from what you're explaining to me, how the training works, I do feel really assured that there is a right process in place for the training, and there is somebody looking after or shadowing it, like you said. So I think the process is quite well. So um, thank you, Bruno, again for your time today. So we are
Thank
going to
you.
close this. So before we close, I think it will be nice for everyone to know if somebody needs some support, if they want to even chat about things or problems with Vendor Central. So where is the best place to find you?
So the best place to find at the moment, we still don't have our webpage live, unfortunately. The best place is to just drop me an email. It's bruno@blue.ecommerce.com. It's an easy one to get into your mind. So just drop me an email and we'll start from there, or through LinkedIn. Just find me through LinkedIn and drop me a text message through LinkedIn, and we'll try to help in any way we can, as usual.
Yes, excellent. Again, thanks again for your time today, and let's speak to you soon. All the best for now.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.